Okay, so we are ready to move on with the HMS Victory. If you guys are wondering what's in this kit, I did a complete unboxing of it, and I'm doing a playlist on this ship. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open it up. I'm going to take the stuff out for the sections that we're going to work on. So just like a real shipbuilder, they would start from the keel and work their way up. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to start from the keel and we're going to put in the bulkheads. So you can see the first thing we got to do, we put these in, and the officers' quarters will be in the back over there, and then we can do the keel. So I want to prepare the parts because we're going to light ours, and we're going to use the glowing LEDs that kind of make it look like a flame. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So let's get the pieces out, and I want to get the stuff that we're going to need. So it comes with a base or a stand, and this is actually not the stand that's pictured in the listing, but that's okay. Again, my friends, this is not Oakry. This is one of those cheaper models from China, and I just want to reiterate the fact that I am not a model builder of ships. I just finished making my first one, and I want to do this for more practice until we tackle the Oakry Flying Dutchman. So I'm going to use, among other resources, I'm going to use the HMS Victory story by John Christopher. It has a few of the recent pictures of the ship as well as the actual museum site. So you can see the pieces of the ship. Actually, speaking of the officers' quarters, you can see how that's going to look. So what I want to do is I want to get everything ready. We actually need the bulkheads. So let me get the section with the bulkheads on it. We'll put this aside. And a section with the keel as well. Now I did a Halco ship. We just finished that. And I was new, that's the first ship I ever made. And again, I'm very new to this. But my point is, that ship, the model, everything in the listing, half the things were not provided when you get the actual kit. But because of the price, it was a little, acceptable because it was cheap. I think it was like $14, and I needed to practice. And my job, my finished ship, is not that wonderful looking. So what I'm thinking is, what I want to do is I want to practice on this one as well. The Oakry HMS Bounty is, I think it's like $1,800. And first of all, that's out of my price range, but second of all, I just don't want to ruin it. This one was $32. So I don't want to disrespect the HMS Victory, but if I'm going to mess one up, I'd rather have it be this one than the Oakry. That all being said, let's get right down to business. Because I started following Oakry, and I've been learning as I go, so hopefully my modeling skills will be getting better. You can see these they're all numbered, so that's a good thing, because what I was going to do with Oakry, the first thing that they have you do is they have you go through with a pencil and mark all the numbers. Make sure all the parts are numbered. But it looks like all of these are numbered. We got 1, 15, 6, 17, 21, 16, 18, 16, 2, 5, 4. So this is nice. They're all actually marked. So I don't know if it's actually in chronological order. Let's see. Oh, it actually is. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it goes all the way down. So we're going to start at the rear. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean everything up, and we're going to get them off the tree. So, actually, there it is. Okay. We're using it for another project. Okay, so we're going to use the knife, we're going to clean it up, and if anything needs to be sanded down, we've got the block sander right here, just to smooth everything out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the keel off of the tree, and very gently we can follow along the edges, and so far so good. Look at that. Oh, I don't want to, yeah. And because I'm going to light mine, see, this isn't really going to be large. I think it would have been, well, it would have been a lot bigger from the one from Oakry. So we're going to put this here, and let me show you what I'm going to use to stain it. We're going to use the Minwax, and this is the semi-transparent. This is the espresso, because this is going to be a little bit darker. So once we get everything and all the bulkheads are on, what I want to do is we're going to stain it, because we're going to light the inside. And there are going to be little windows or ports for the cannon, as well as the officers' quarters, and it's just going to be sections that I want the lights to come through. And remember, she's not going to be the Queen Mary. She's not going to have spotlights all over the place. So let's start now. We're going to get all of the pieces off. So let's start with, let's see, we got number 1. So we're going to take all of the bulkheads off of the tree. You can see there's a little bit of, just a little bit that needs to be taken out. See that little piece? But just like that. It's gone. And there's a section on the inside, so let's use the X-Acto knife. There's a little bit on the side. And remember, we're going to sand it before we start planking it as well. There. Alright, this is part number 1. So, well, let's do the process. We're going to take them all off of the tree. Alright, see, this is a really tiny piece, so we got to make sure there's no number on it, so we got to keep, that's number 27, so let's keep that with it. Alright, I just want to make sure we got all the parts. We got 25, 26, and 27, so I think we got everything for now. Alright. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go through and we're going to make sure that everything is clean. The keel looks pretty good. Let's see where the bulkheads are going to go. It looks pretty clean. So that looks pretty good. So the first thing we got to do for step 1 is we've got, let's see, parts 27, 26, and 25. So 25, 26, and 27 are going to go right there. And we just happen to have some of the waxy type paper that we're using for our Titanic build. See how it's kind of waxy? So this is going to be good. We're going to use this. And we're going to put this right there. And I'm actually going to use a toothpick. Alright. Now let's start the HMS Bounty. Okay, so I want to start with, let's see, piece 27. So this is piece 27. I want to show you guys how tiny that is. So you need to clean out the area. I don't know if you'd be able to see that, but it needs to be cleaned just a bit where it's going to go on. Yeah. This is such a tiny piece. Okay, that's going to go all the way at the bottom. So we're going to take a little bit of glue. Just the tip. And this is going to go on. Again, I got to be really careful. It's on, so what I want to do is I want to put a tiny bit of reinforcing glue. And even. So that looks good. Okay, now we're going to use part 26. And I just seen that. Here it is. So we want to do the same thing. I want to put some of the glue into section for part 26. Just like that. And what I want to do is we're going to make sure, first we're going to put a little bit of reinforcing drops around. Again, not to be sloppy, but I want to make sure it's in place. Okay, now we're going to make sure it's straight. And lastly, make sure this is part 25. So this is going to go over here. And again, because this is a smaller model, we got to make sure that these little pieces really line up and they're really square. At least with me, the larger the model, the easier it seems. So I want to push these in just to make sure they're flush. You're going to make sure they're straight. So that looks good. Okay. What I need to do now is I need to get my trusty pliers, because I like to hold the keel up with a pair of pliers. What we got to do now is we're going to start at the back, and it looks like we're going to put, is that 23? 23 into the top, and I can't tell what that one is because the printing is really terrible. Let's see, that's 23 and 24. And get a nice covering. I mean, we don't want to be sloppy, but we want to make sure there's glue there. And there. And this is going to go like this. And there's a lot of surface area, so what I want to do is I want to run the reinforcing glue, and we'll just dab it on. So this is going to be the basis to form the officers' quarters. So let's do the same thing. We're going to put some reinforcing glue. Okay, so these are in chronological order. That's up to number 10. This is 5 through 9. This is 1. And we have 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So they're all in order now. And this was only for the small piece 27. And we have the 1/2, and I think that's what's going to go into the back. That's what was messing me up. So 1/2 is going to start it off. Then we go 1, and then we go all the way to 20. So let's just make sure that it looks good. So this is going to go here. So that's going to be the first one. Alright, so we're going to put some glue in this first little notch, and then we're going to glue the surface area because that's where it's all going to go on. So let's so when you hear it click into place, that's a good sound. So you can see there are little notches that everything kind of needs to interlock into. And it needs to be flush right up against it. There. So the first piece is important because it's got to go flush to everything, and it needs to be aligned up, and all these little notches need to clip into place. That way there you know she's going to be square. So that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to 1, and then it's going to be chronological all the way down. And I'm going to put the numbers facing forward because I just want to keep it even keel. So we've got number 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to put the glue into the notch. And you can see right over there the first one. So this is going to go down right here. Just like that. And it looks like it's going to be just about level with the 1-2 piece. See that? Okay, so now I want just a little bit of the enforcing glue, reinforcing. There, make it look neat. Okay, now we're going to move on. Let's go to number 2. We're going to see the victory start to take shape. So we got number 2. There. All right, on to number 3. I do have a square, but it's too large to use for this. All right, so that looks good. Again, I want to make sure that they're all staying straight and true to form. And we got to make sure that they're lined up. So that looks pretty good. Okay. It looks like we start to drop down. So just just the sections that we've gotten so far, you can feel it start to get heavier. All right, let's make sure that looks good. All right, on to number 8. There, I want to make sure it's there. It's looking pretty cool. Number 10, you can see the top is changing. We don't have the little area on top now. I think it's going to be a lower deck or a well deck. We'll see. There we are. Moving right along, we're already up to part 11, so it looks like we're halfway there, a little more. All right, we're up to step 12 now. Tom Brady number. On to number 13. Yeah. Okay, so we're up to number 14. All right. And we got to make sure that that's even. It looks pretty good. There, looks like we got all the bulkheads in. So that was, let's see, it looks like we have a couple more to put in at the front, at the bow. We got 21 and 20. 2 21s and 2 22s. So I think we're going to do 2 for either side, port and starboard. Now straighten them out. That looks pretty good. See how the front is starting to look. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. All right. Does that finish off step number 2? I do believe that finishes step number 2. So step number 3, it looks like we got to put pieces 33 in between the bulkheads. Is this it? This looks like it could be it. 33. All right, I just want to make sure it was on a different parts tree. Now let's put this part in. Just kind of push it down, keep it in position for a couple of seconds. That's all set, that's glued in place. I just want to wipe off the extra glue. That looks good. All right, what do we got to do next? So that was step 3. Okay, on to step 4. We've got 32, which looks like the rudder. 30, 31, 29, and 28. So, I think I remember seeing those on the... So we've got 30 and 31. So I'm thinking that's going to go, one for each side. Okay. So let's take a look. How are these going to go on? So it looks like the one all the way on the inside is the 28. And then we've got 29 next in line. We've got 31 next. So that's this one. And lastly, 30. And that's going to go on the side. So let's do the same thing now for the other side. We've got 29, 28, 31, and 30. So we got all these structures going in that are going to help support the areas where the captain's quarters are and the officers' quarters. So can you see the bottom? We put in all these supports over here. So I want to just load up on the glue into the little joints, into the seams. All right, that's pretty good. I just want to make sure everything is in all the way. So let's put this like this. Okay, what's next? So it looks like the last thing we got to do in step 4 is we actually have to put the rudder on. And you can see how it's going to follow the keel. All right, I think that looks pretty straight. And that's everything for step number 4. So I think what we need to do now is we need to let her dry, because she's pretty damp. All the glue needs to dry, and then we can move on. And in step 5, you can see where the decks are going to go on, but actually we're going to deviate from the instruction sheet, because now I'm going to be putting in some lights, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to actually light the ship. So we're going to have, let's see, I'm not positive how we're going to do it. Maybe we can go in through these with the LED strip, but I'll figure out a way, because I want to wait until she's dry enough to handle, because she's pretty, because of all the glue, she's a little damp. So my friends, thank you for watching. And we have the keel laid, we have all the bulkheads in, and we got the basic form now for the HMS Victory. So until my next video on this series, my friends, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.